Captain Chris are experts at identifying local dolphins by the marks on their dorsal fins. One young male bottlenose dolphin they named Seymour quickly becomes a favorite with the class. Seymour's always been a bit of a show-off, often coming right up to the boat with his mom.
As we saw them over and over, time and time again, we knew we'd see a lot more of this little baby, so we gave the name Seymour.
But one day when James spots Seymour, he immediately knows something is terribly wrong.
He had monofilament line that went around his dorsal fin down to his flukes or peduncle, the back end of the dolphin that gives him the propulsion.
They call for help, and wildlife officials ask James and Captain Chris to keep tabs on the dolphin. But a whole month goes by before they see him again. And now Seymour's injuries are even worse. There are ugly clumps of skin on his tail. It's scar tissue growing around the fishing line as the line digs deeper and deeper into his skin.
Dolphin skin is constantly shedding, so with something there that's impeding the normal movement of the cells, they'll begin to sort of pile on top of each other and form a growth.
Experts agree this dolphin needs their help.
If someone doesn't intervene on something like this, eventually what was going to happen with Seymour is it would cut off vital parts of his tail, the tendons going to the tail, the blood supply going to the tail, and he'd probably lose the tail.
But Seymour slips out of sight again.
And so it was 3 months of pretty much intensive looking for him, sometimes up to 12 hours a day.
Marco Island is near a protected area called the 10,000 Islands Wildlife Reserve. It's an area almost as big as Minneapolis, Minnesota. An underwater labyrinth of mangrove tree roots and inlets teeming with manatees and sea turtles. It's a perfect habitat and a perfect hiding place for a bottlenose dolphin. As the search for Seymour continues, the students at Crafton Elementary in Pennsylvania grow more and more concerned.
We heard that he had a fishing line wrapped around his tail, and everyone was worried. It was kind of frightening.
So the kids decide to organize a series of fundraisers for Seymour.
The students said to me, we need to help. And I said, how can we help from Pittsburgh? What can we do? And they said, well, you know, we can fundraise. We did a hoagie fundraiser, which was a huge success. And then we did one with a local bookstore.
They hope the money they raise can somehow help Seymour. Back in Florida, knowing the stakes are high, James and Chris are doing everything they can to locate this elusive dolphin.
We made little flyers with a close-up of Seymour's dorsal and a close-up of the injury on his flukes and passed that out. We passed it out to people going out on rental boats and left the number for them to call in.
This is an animal that's 7, 9 years old, estimated age.
The flyers work. Somebody spots Seymour. Officials from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission formulate a plan to put a large rescue team together.
That's our job, to safely capture, manage the animal.
This huge effort involves a dozen boats and 30 rescuers from SeaWorld Orlando, Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute, Mote Marine Lab, the University of Florida, and the Chicago Zoological Society. They search for 6 hours, but Seymour's a no-show.
And we had seen like 20 dolphins, none of which were Seymour. And we were coming out of the bay, and one of the ladies said, well, there's a dolphin. And I glanced over and instantly recognized the markings on the dorsal fin, which told us that it was Seymour.
They found Seymour. Now the team finally has its chance to rescue him and remove that life-threatening entanglement. Coming up, as the rescue team moves in, the kids from Crafton Elementary are watching this real-life drama unfold live in their classroom.
I was like excited and worried because I didn't know if it was going to turn out right.
Can rescuers save Seymour and remove that potentially deadly fishing line?
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're gonna move back. Let's move back.
We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Liftoff.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
what is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
The ladies you love, the hottest topics happening now. There's only one place to find it all.
You guys are having the hard conversations. I love The View.
The most watched #1 daytime talk show is The View. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It was a scary time in the 70s. You had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. You had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil. You have this clock. This person is going to do this again. It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
With so much at stake, more Americans turn here than any other newscast. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 newscast and the #1 program on television.
After months of searching, Seymour the dolphin has been finally located off Marco Island, Florida. This young male bottlenose dolphin has a ball of fishing line tangled around his tail, and if it's not removed, it could be deadly.
If there's not a decision to intervene in Seymour's care, he's going to die. He won't be able to eat. He won't be able to forage.
Guys, survey.
Meanwhile, 1,000 miles away in Pennsylvania, a group of elementary school students also have a huge emotional stake in his rescue.
Why were the boats surrounding the area, James? Why are they coming around?
As part of a school project, they've been video chatting with the crew of a dolphin sightseeing boat all year. Now they can actually follow Seymour's rescue live as James gives them a play-by-play from his vantage point on the boat.
How many boats are in the search?
Okay, so I think we're at about a dozen boats for the rescue today.
It was kind of frightening. We hope he didn't die in the process or anything.
Look like young subadults.
Now that Seymour's been successfully located, James provides a live play-by-play for the 3rd and 4th graders who hang on every heart-pounding word.
Can you describe the area in which Seymour's rescue is being held?
So we're just off the Marco River into Collier Bay. It's a kind of like a dead end, one way in, one way out. We found Seymour moving into the bay. He's in a very shallow cove, which is actually perfect because it's just a few feet deep.
I was excited and worried because I didn't know if it was going to turn out right, but then I was excited because we had a chance of saving his life.
The rescue team from SeaWorld and partner organizations deploys a net, creating what they call a compass around Seymour.
At this point, the animal's contained. He's inside the compass so we can start working. So we slowly need to go out, get up to the animal, and put hands on him.
Rescuers have to be careful. They don't know how much damage the entanglement has done, and they don't want to make it any worse. The team carefully transports Seymour in a sling. Although he weighs 450 pounds, there are enough rescuers here to hoist him up on a floating mat.
These animals aren't designed to be up on land, so we want to put them on foam to keep them comfortable.
And he was very calm. He just stayed there. I mean, he was not flapping around at all.
It's almost as if Seymour senses that his rescuers are not going to harm him. But now, the most critical moment. Rescuers have to hold Seymour very still on that floating mat while University of Florida vet Mike Walsh works to remove the fishing gear. It's near major arteries, and one false move could spell real trouble.
It wasn't just monofilament line, there was actually a metal leader line. So we not only got off a number of repetitions of lines circled around his tail, but this piece of metal wire that was embedded came off as well.
It takes 25 minutes for Dr. Walsh to remove an astonishing 8 feet of embedded fishing line and wire. But Seymour's still not out of danger. He could have suffered severe bone damage, and that could mean he'd never be able to swim properly again.
Right in there. That one very
In this case, because the fishing line was cutting into the tissue so deeply, there was concern that the bone might have been affected.
Need to get some x-rays to be able to look at that bone.
But taking x-rays poses a dilemma. They'd like to return Seymour to the water right away, but only x-rays can confirm whether he's healthy enough to go back.
1, 2, 3.
Trouble is, the nearest facility where they can take an x-ray is hours away. Coming up, an unlikely solution to the team's dilemma.
To help these guys is a wonderful feeling.
Can this local horse doctor help save Seymour the dolphin?
With so much at stake, so much on the line, more Americans turn here than any place else. ABC News World News Tonight with David Muir, America's #1 most watched newscast, now streaming on ABC News Live.
It was a scary time in the 70s. You had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. He had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil. You have this clock. This person is going to do this again. It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
Admit it. These days, what you need to know
Seems to change just about every day.
what is it that you really want to know, need to know,
To help you not just get through your day,
but to make the most of it. Feel smarter.
feel better.
Feel happier.
Well, how about a third hour of Good Morning America?
GMA 3, what you need to know. Now streaming on ABC News Live.
It's all about you.
Hours, Assault on the Capitol, the ABC News original, exclusively on Hulu, now streaming.
National parks are incredibly safe places, but crime will happen.
Hey, Mama. My wife has fallen. She's in really critical condition.
At that time, I thought it was just a tragic accident.
There's still a lot of questions we need to ask.
There were small things that didn't totally add up.
This is 2 lives for Harold that have died now. I was shocked. Something's not right.
Seymour, the bottlenose dolphin, has been successfully rescued off a remote island in southern Florida. Veterinarians have cut a tangle of fishing gear off his tail, but they're still concerned it may have caused serious damage. One way to know for sure is to take x-rays. But how on earth are they going to do that with Seymour still in the water? Now that they've rescued Seymour the dolphin, the team must find out how much damage the fishing line has caused. If it's not too bad, Seymour could be returned right there and then. But if the line is cut too far into his bone, he'll need to go to a rehab facility for long-term care. Now, an x-ray should hold the answer, but the question is, how do you x-ray a 450-pound dolphin out here in the wilderness? The answer turns out to be Daryl Harvey, a local vet who's more used to treating patients of the four-legged variety on land rather than our flipper friends at sea. But his portable x-ray machine is just what the doctor ordered.
This is an on-location x-ray machine that can be taken just about anywhere that we have a little bit of power. We use it in the field for our horses. I've actually x-rayed a zebra before.
They administer oxygen through his blowhole, so he'll breathe a little easier. Rescuers move Seymour by boat to a dock. This stable platform will allow them to take clear pictures of his tail.
Having the capability of an x-ray allows us to say Seymour needs to stay or Seymour needs to go. Not only can we take it on site, we can theoretically send it to someone and they can help tell us what's going on.
It takes a few minutes to set up the machine. They gently maneuver Seymour into position and make sure he stays still so they can get the clearest possible picture of his tail. Then they take the all-important X-rays.
For us, this was significant because we were able to take another technology into the field, do a better job of diagnosing the severity of the problem, and make better decisions.
Turns out Seymour does have some bone damage, but not severe enough to require him being taken to a rehab facility. Instead, these experts determine Seymour can be returned right away. But as a precaution, they attach a satellite tag so they can monitor his progress.
So that was our safety valve. If we're able to tag him and follow him, in this case with a satellite tag, then we theoretically can say, well, if he gets in trouble, we can go back. We can check on him. We know where he is.
Stand by, everybody.
And that makes the kids all the way back in Pittsburgh feel like a special part of this rescue. Remember those fundraisers they held when they first heard Seymour was in trouble? Well, the $600 they raised goes towards helping to pay for Seymour's satellite tag.
I felt great because, like, they saved him and they put the tracker on him.
Coming up.
Okay, guys, so breaking news. He's back out in the wild.
Now it's fingers crossed that Seymour's story will have a happy ending.
It was an extraordinary story.
A computer salesman was supposed to report to prison to begin a 17-year sentence.
They let him turn himself into jail with no escort.
No one thought he would run.
How do you evade capture for 25 years? How do you do that?
Now, join the search, following the U.S. Marshals as they uncover new leads in a global manhunt. Can you help catch this fugitive?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man?
Have you seen this man? Listen and join the all-new Hunt wherever you get your podcasts.
It was a scary time. In the 70s, you had multiple bodies showing up in Los Angeles.
There were so many murders happening. He had to have a name for it, serial killer.
There was a human head in there. This was premeditated evil. You have this clock. This person is going to do this again. It's me against the killer. Who's going to win?
We'll see who laughs last.
What came next was unlike anything they had ever seen.
World News Now.
And America This Morning.
The best new videos.
Breaking news overnight.
Your money and concerns about inflation.
The pandemic is not over.
The stories people are talking about.
You don't want to shave your legs? Don't. I was going to say. And what to expect in the day ahead.
From the top of the world, baby! ABC World News Now and America This Morning.
Weekday morning starting at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Up all night to keep you up to date.
This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live.
All right, we're going to move back. Let's move back. We're surrounded by people squeezing into this bomb shelter.
We're on an urgent delivery run.
Not afraid to go there.
So my question, Mr. President, what are you so afraid of?
Breaking news, live events.
This is the moment.
Streaming straight to you, anytime, anywhere.
You just met one friend right here.
You're watching ABC News Live. Thanks for streaming with us.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source.
Seymour the dolphin's been freed from fishing gear, examined, x-rayed, and cleared for return to the wild. The rescue team keeps him comfortable as they transport him. It's full steam ahead to the spot where they first rescued him. But before he goes, they give him one final shot of antibiotics to protect him from infection. And then, it's the moment everyone has worked so hard to make a reality. The team gently walks Seymour out into shallow water.
Okay, guys, so breaking news. It looks like the line removal went well, so he has been released. He's back out in the wild.
Back at Crafton Elementary outside Pittsburgh, the kids are overjoyed.
I was so happy. I was like